Hello everyone, welcome to round 3 of Daytona's Super Champs 2020. This is the link back circuit, and for the first time I'm going to talk over one of my race recordings and share it so everyone can see my perspective on the race. And I've got a couple of things that I'd like to ask you guys, and of course feel free to learn from anything that I'm doing badly or doing well. We're starting P6. And we're on outside. We've got two left-handers coming up, so I'm going to move to the left-hand side as quickly as possible. And actually we're alongside P5. We get a slight tap in the rear, and that actually helps us out in this occasion. It gets us through, and we are up into P5. That's P4 in class at the moment. The guy in front of us is actually a heavyweight, so he's done very, very well in qualifying and the race. And you can see that all the squabbling at the start has actually allowed the front four to gap us slightly, so we're going to need to put in some clean corners, as we have done, in order to get back up with them. And as they start squabbling, we close all the way back in. Just going to see if we can make any kind of inroads down here. Now, like I said, one of the reasons that I wanted to do this and share my footage is feedback. I'd love to know what you guys think and if there's any way that I can improve at all. And of course, I fully appreciate that if you're one of my competitors in this championship, you might not want to tell me how to improve. But at the same time, feel free to have a look at what I'm doing well and what I'm doing badly, and feel free to learn from that as well. So hopefully it becomes fair. If you do give me some advice that helps me do well, I'll buy you a squishy or something like that. Anyway, like I said, the guy in front of us is actually a heavyweight, and so he's done really, really well. But I did notice in this race that particularly on the back straight, he seemed to be struggling a little bit. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with the kart. It didn't feel particularly slow or anything. But they were gapping us on the back straight, so I think we'll probably get a good example of this just about coming up now. What I need to do is work out, I think, how to improve my lines or my exits. In actual fact, in this instance, it doesn't look like it's gone too badly for us. We've been pretty clean out of that corner, and as these guys start battling, we are there to take advantage. So not the cleanest exit out, and momentarily we're up into third place overall, but we don't quite get it to work. The guy inside had track position, a little bit of rubbing. I'm going to flap my arms around to see if I can get some sympathy, but realistically there's nothing wrong with that. And we're back down to where we were initially. Now, as these guys are battling, and we are battling with them, you can see that the front two have just dropped us straight away, and that's how much time you can lose just by being offline, being able to, or compromising your braking point, as the guy in front gets his braking wrong into the link back, and hopefully we might be there to resolve or to take his place from him. You can see here, just on the straight, we lose out a little bit there, and we'll see what happens here as well. It wasn't the cleanest exit in the world. I did get a small slide on, but again you can see that both these karts in front, one of them being a heavyweight, does actually gap us, and we're not available. We're not there into this braking zone where we are stronger. We're not there to punish them. Now, this is one of the areas, like again, they can see, we're not getting the exit, and I'm really thinking quite hard. Do I need to brake earlier and get on the gas earlier? Do I need to carry more speed into the corners and keep the revs up? I'm just not sure, so if anyone can give me some advice on that, that'd be much appreciated. Now, like I've said that a few times, that the guy in front is a heavyweight. Now, I'm a lightweight, but I'm actually one of the heavier lightweights. So I'm about 78 kgs racing weight. Now, it sounds like in the dry, any more weight would always be a bad thing, and it's certainly not ideal. You'd want, I think, to be as light as possible, to be as competitive as possible in karting. You can see actually going back to our point about the exits, the driver in front did actually straighten up much more quickly than we did there. He took a deeper line in, so maybe that's something that we need to consider for next time. Going back to the issue of weight, so being one of the heavier lightweights in the race, certainly in a dry race, it's not ideal, but actually in qualifying, having a little bit more energy going through the tyres and a little bit more weight over the tyres, I suspect it's actually helped out a little bit. And I'm just very aware that there are a couple of very, very quick, lighter drivers behind us. I'm starting to check over my shoulder. Now, we did actually gap the group behind us. So there's the two at the front battling, there's the three of us, and then there's another group behind us. However, in that group behind us, we've got some very quick and very light drivers who, as soon as their tyres warm up properly, I'm sure are going to be pretty quick. So I've got to look out for that now. And as you can see, I'm not sure why it is that we're losing so much time on this straight, but I'm sure it's down to something I'm doing at the hairpin at the bottom. I'm just a little bit aware that there's going to be, in the next few minutes, a bit of a challenge from behind. And you can already see I'm beginning to lose out to the karts in front as well. Whilst they were battling, it was quite straightforward to keep on their tail. However, as we are beginning to lap some back markers, it's becoming apparent to me that I'm probably not going to give these guys a race all race long. One of the really interesting things about the DMAX Super Champs series is that you've got Sodi karts, the RT8s and the DMAX karts all on the same track. So it's a little bit like Le Mans, and you've got to navigate the sort of slightly slower Sodi karts in a fair but direct way, so that you can get past them without losing any time. And it's often easier said than done. You can't just shove the Sodi karts out the way. They've paid to be here, they've got every right to take the line that they want, being the kart in front. And as you can see, around the corners there's really not that much in the way of difference between them. It's just when you get into the straights that the DMAX karts do tend to pull away. The DMAX karts are, I'd say, slightly lighter as well, and they feel very, very different to drive, but I'd say that there's probably about 5 seconds, looking at the times, difference between the top Sodis and the top DMAX karts. Now, it's usually the case that the drivers in front, when they come to lap some back markers, tend to be the ones to miss out, or to lose out, I should say. Just because the lapped drivers don't know that they're there. As you can see, this guy in front of us has to take evasive to get past both of them. It hasn't quite worked out for us though. Our exit's compromised, we had to brake very early, and as I turn around you just see the snout of one of the DMAX drivers, as I thank the Sodi karts. You can just see the snout of one of the DMAX drivers that I alluded to earlier, one of the very, very fast, lighter drivers who have probably had a bit of a difficult time in qualifying, but in the race is able to show his true pace, and he has caught up to me as I have dropped back from the two we were battling with in front. We're going to do another front-running Sodi heavy on the brakes, and now, rather than looking ahead, I have got a whole world of worry and pain behind, because I now have to keep behind a driver who I suspect pretty strongly is going to be faster than me. This is one of these horrible moments. Do I go for it? Don't I? Oh, we've got a couple of karts crashed on the inside. Got to give the Sodi on the outside a bit of space, all the while trying to ensure that we're not losing out. And again, you can just see there, we've got our rival behind us. Thank you very much to the driver who points us through there. That's really, really helpful. We've got a little bit of clear track, and again there you can see I'm a bit late to move across and defend. I can't squeeze our friend any further, and I'm just out on the less grippy part of the track there, and we lose out. Yeah, a little bit frustrating. I should have seen that one coming, really. I knew that he was going to be faster than me. I knew that we weren't getting that hairpin correct as well, and therefore we were going to be slow on the straights. I should have seen that one coming. So you live and learn, don't you? So we're just going to try and follow him. He looks quick, and I suspect he's going to be on the tail of the carts that we were racing in front. So perhaps if we stay with him as closely as possible, we might have a chance to pick up some scraps. That's just the kind of race this one's going to be, as I check behind to see if there's anyone else who I need to be aware of. Again, just like Le Mans World Endurance Championship, we've got a whole host of slower karts. Now, I actually tried to go on the curb there, so I don't think he knew that I was going to overtake him up the inside, and the curb actually threw me out wide, and I made a little bit of contact with him, so just apologies to that driver there. And again, you can see here the difference between the Sodis, as we've got another kart, another DMAX driver that we are racing alongside. Now, again, I'm out on the less grippy material, and but just about managed to resolve it. But this here, I mean, I think is kind of the definition of ABC, advantage by contact. Now the guy does actually apologise, put his arm up, and again I'm going to wave my arms around, see if the FIA are going to do anything about it, but unfortunately not. But you know, the marshals don't see everything, they can't be everywhere. It's a little bit like football refereeing. The referees miss as much as they see, and you've just got to accept that, and also recognise, I think, that this guy was going probably quite a lot quicker than us in the race. So we're just going to try and follow and see what we can do to learn from him. Still got a couple of Sodis that we're making our way through. Again, these are the front-running Sodis now, so these guys are battling for class wins. So it's not that they're worse drivers, in many cases they're probably better drivers in actual fact, but the machinery they're using just isn't quite as fast, particularly in the dry. And we've lost out a few kart lengths to the car in front, but never mind. It's always a bit disappointing when you can't see what someone who has overtaken you is doing, because they're so much faster as we go up the inside of another Sodi. I think that's just about it for the Sodi karts at the moment. But in this dry race, in actual fact, we end up lapping the Sodis twice, and that seems to be fairly typical. In a dry race, the DMAX drivers will lap the Sodi karts a couple of times. Other thing I was going to mention was, particularly in this race, and I've noticed a few times now, my pace seems to get slightly worse the lighter the kart gets. I don't mean necessarily it actually gets worse in real terms, but my race pace compared to other drivers around me seems to get a little bit worse as the race goes on. Now, I don't know if that's down to fatigue and lack of fitness, or if the lighter kart is not working with my driving style. Again, that is a question that I'd love to get some input or some suggestions to. So why is it that I seem to be less competitive on lower fuel as opposed to sort of the beginning of the race? Anyone who's got any kind of insight in that, I'd love to know, because that'd be a really interesting point. Okay, what I'm going to do now is leave you to enjoy the rest of the race. I'm going to stop talking. It's a really, really good race. I'm really, really enjoying this championship. It makes you feel like a proper bona fide racing driver, particularly with the commentary and the graphics that the Daytona have gone to the trouble of putting, and the highlight reels, the coverage that Daytona have put together. It's a really, really class operation. So if you haven't ever done one of these events, I would recommend that you do it. If you're a fan of motorsport, of course, I think don't be intimidated by it. It's a really, really friendly setup. Come down, maybe we'll see you soon. Thanks very much, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching, and see you at round 4.